Hello there! Signs of spring are all over the place, and I thought it's time that I make a new video. This video has no particular build, I just want to share what I've been doing all around bicycles recently. This here, for example, is from my way to the coffee roastery, where I got some fresh beans. I think the purple 1989 Terra Runner fits perfectly to the little flowers of spring, in this case the crocus. As you know me, I can't omit spotting nice bikes around me, and I know even the owner of this one here, one of the guys of the Gutenbiken bike shop. These red tires are certainly a bold move. Then bikes all around my neighborhood have these red badges on them, meaning that they will be removed soon due to being abandoned and sitting in the streets. Unfortunate in this case here. I've not been doing complete builds, but doing some changes to my bikes. For example, I added this basket and an old rack to the Terra Runner. The basket was just lying around rotting in the streets. I've also been utilizing these dark winter evenings to lace my very first own wheel, finally. This is a nicely wide 26-inch rim in silver color and some mid-level Shimano dynamo hub. It actually was so much fun to build the wheel, I was surprised. I had some anxiety before about it, but also here with the help of the good Park Tool videos, it worked very well. After this video here, I still did some final truing. I was so excited I directly had to mount the wheel. Some sin. I don't mount this Son light to a Son dynamo hub. Oh no. But I mean, come on, the Shimano dynamo hub has to be okay. I'm not rich. And here's my 87 Kogamiata Terra Runner with the dynamo hub and the light. I used the mid-length lamp holder you have just seen because it fits the very slack geometry of the Terra Runner fine. I think the standard lamp holder that came with the lamp would have been too short. And don't be mad at me about the lamp's cable. I will shorten it in the future. I just was a bit nervous about shortening this special coax cable. I've never done this before. In this video I have only little footage about riding this bike with my new wheel, but stay tuned for the next video. But I made some rather strange discoveries on my test ride. So far I'm very happy with the wheel and light. I mean, the light is so expensive, but also so well made and good looking. I was inspired by this awesome bike here. You might know it from my Spotting the Winter Bikes of Munich video. There's a special place in my heart for people who equip nice old mountain bikes with high quality modern components like this sunlight and dynamo hub. Okay, but now enough of that snow footage. So, the rest of the video is about a nice weekend ride I've shared with my girlfriend. With my freshly added basket and front rack to the bike, I packed my Giro Bavarese merch, the bottle and this bag here in the front, which also suit the bike very well for an all-purple design. I can't wait for the trees to finally become green. The sunlight is nice in the first warmth, and of course these blossoms of spring everywhere around, like the aforementioned crocus. But for me, spring has really arrived when the green shoots are sprouting in the trees. Nevertheless, I enjoy days like this a lot. All these signs of the ending winter, also the birds, which I've forgotten to mention before, make me very happy. I'm also very grateful that my left thumb, which I injured right after New Year's, has now finally recovered, I'd say 99%. Certainty like this makes me appreciate being able to ride my bike even more. Because in the end, well, it's not self-evident. An accident or in general some injury can always happen, and you might have to take a break, even a long break. So, with that being said, a special shout out to every one of you out there who is suffering from some injury or sickness and might not be able to ride their bicycle at the moment. Get well soon. Spring is coming. I hope things get better for you. For me personally, I strongly believe that also looking at my bikes a lot helped me cure quickly. At this spot here I always like to refill my water bottle, as this is fresh, clear and nicely cold water. Next up we had arrived at Großhesseloher Brücke, which is a bridge across the Isar for trains and pedestrians underneath the trains. Sometimes you can catch a good glimpse of the trains from up here, but this day we didn't have any luck. So we went down to cross the bridge, and as it goes down here in a continuous right turn, I was very happy that I had readjusted my brakes on this bike when installing the basket and front rack. At this point I would like to hear your opinion on U-brakes specifically. The rear brake here is also a U-brake with a booster. They are often a very disputed topic and many people don't like them. I have to say, a U-brake, especially if it has a booster, so the additional metal plate that prevents the chainstay from bending a little bit under braking force and thus reducing braking power, these U-brakes, and being well set, can be very powerful and block the rear wheel instantly, at the same time modulate well, so I like them very much. Here on the bridge I always like to look down, as the brain at some point just erases the planks and it looks a little bit as if you're flying. From there onwards we continued in the direction of the Waldwirtschaft, so it can be roughly translated as, I think, forest restaurant or forest gastronomy. And that's a big beer garden south of Munich. I like to mess around with all kinds of loose ground. With the well-set rear brake, it's just so much fun to randomly block the rear wheel.
Da ist die Barbie.
Not many people at the beer garden that early. That's such a Munich outskirts moment. You just randomly look at a bike and of course it has some very expensive parts on it. Breakfast hadn't been that long before, so we just got a snack. But eventually we also had to get one of the Steckerl fish. They just were smelling too good. And after lunch we were just sitting there enjoying the sun and playing some card game. When we left after like 2 hours, The beer garden was already crowded. So many people were out to enjoy the weather. That was over way too quickly. But I didn't want to go too fast, also because of all the people around. Afterwards we continued a bit by the river Isar back towards the city. There you can see the bridge from underneath it. My girlfriend's bike is still her pastel blue Rotor Amundsen, which we bought in Leipzig 5 years ago. Back then we had both bought one of these bikes from Rotor Bikes, and I had a melon yellow Rotor Amundsen with, for example, a roll of speed hub, which is now on my Surly Bridge Club. Of course I had to take this random detour here. Maybe one more note on my Rotor Amundsen with roll-off speed hub and so on. Well, it was last year that I finally learned I don't need an expensive bike like this. Sure, it has so many advantages and might be ready to travel the world or commute kilometers and kilometers every day with longevity, but for me, my inexpensive bikes, which are old but might have some decent components and some good upgrades, these bikes with their less is more feature make me happy the most. In the end, these bikes are just so much more worry-free. For the final stop of that trip, we went to the Botanical Garden south of the Munich city center, close to the river Isar. We wanted to also check this place out for signs of spring. Well, and we weren't left disappointed. Some little blossoms and flowers all over the place, in between the many plants which are still in their winter shape. Here, just at the entrance, we were even greeted by some very nice smell from these blossoms. And that's where our trip slowly came to an end. Thanks if you have been with me until here. If you don't want to comment on the U-brake I mentioned before, just let me know if you have also been doing some cycling trips to enjoy spring. Or maybe you don't even have spring at your place. Maybe it's a different season. Oh yeah, and this blossom reminds me of something. There's one bike I want to present to you soon, which will be another build video and not riding around. I've been acquiring some parts for it, like this wheel with a dynamo hub, and will soon build it up as some kind of gravel commuter, a type of bike that's very popular for new bikes. But here we of course will have an old bike. Yeah, but some parts I'm still waiting for. For example, for another stem. I don't like this one here, it's very steep. So yeah, please like and subscribe if you have enjoyed the video and want to support the channel, and I hope to see you in the next videos. Bye bye!